How do you do, YouTubers? This is the Paper Engineer. Nice to see you. What I'm working on is I was going to do a tutorial for you all on how to make eggshell ornaments. Now, one of the things that you have to do is you have to have eggs, all right? And you have to get them out of the shell. A couple of different ways. You can punch a hole in the end of them, in each end, and blow it out. That works. Or you can do what I taught myself how to do many, many years ago. You have a pair of these scissors, very delicate. If you have these this small that are curved, they're better. And what you have to do is you just have to do this and punch just a teeny tiny little divot in here. And then what you do, now I'm up in the office, so I have no place to put this egg once I get it out of here. But it doesn't matter. So what you have to do is just take little teeny tiny nips until you get a hole in there, and you just start going around it like this. Okay? Brown eggs have a tougher shell than the white ones. Anyway, and you just keep working around like this. And you want to make an oval cutout of the egg so you can get the egg out of here whole. I don't like having everything scrambled. I like to be able to have my eggs out whole. Now, this is done, okay? I have this out of here, okay? Now, since I'm up in the office and have no place to put this, we're just going to down the hatch with this thing. Okay, and that's how you get your eggs out. Now, if you're in the house, okay, you're not going to have to do that. That's not going to be one of those things that you need to do what I just did. But you can. It won't hurt you. At least I've never heard of one of those eggs hurting you that way. Okay, got that. And now what I'm doing is you have to dry the inside. All right, usually I just wash these out and then just set them down and let them dry overnight. But I don't have that ability to do that here because I'm in my office and not in the house. And so anyway, I'll just do this as clean as possible. Okay, now that will dry the rest of the way. And once you've done that and you have dry eggs, then the next thing you need to do is you need to paint them. All right, now this egg is going to have a squirrel in it. All right, the squirrel will be running through the egg. So, eggs bouncing. Anyway, a couple of things you can do. You can paint them with acrylic paint and just brush it on, or you can spray paint them. You know, if you have a airbrush, you can just airbrush them. But acrylic paint also works extremely well with doing these. And so this is what you have to do. Now, the lady that is getting this is 80 years old, so I'm painting it silver. I don't know if that represents age or not, but that's what I have decided to do. And so anyway, once these are painted, basically, now I've showed you that. Don't need to really show you any more of that because you understand it. All right, so what you have then is you have a painted egg. Now, once your egg is painted, then you have to decide how you want to hang it. they've got that little tiny ribbon stuff. Okay, you can wrap the ribbon around up to a point up here and glue it on. That works really good. If you have a Dremel or a hand drill that you can use micro drills on, which is what I happen to use. The micro drills work really good, but if you don't have that, you can take your chain and you can glue it onto your egg just like this. All right, now once you gather it up at the top, glued where you want it, then of course you can hang your ornament from chain like that. Now personally, I prefer this method. I taught myself back in the 80s on how to make these ornaments. In the 60s we didn't have that. In the 80s we did. Well, me. I learned it myself. So what I've got here is 7mm stainless steel wire. Very strong. And what I do is I cut a piece, just nip it off like that. And then you take your chain, which is what I have here, and you put this wire through the end of it. Now, these links have to be closed well, because if they're not a good closed solid link chain, what can happen is the chain can come off of this cotter pin. Now, I'm making them cotter pins, all right? They go around inside there and you squeeze them together and they come to a point. Now, I've already drilled this shell. And so what goes on now is I put this wire into the shell. Now, something you have to do as well is you need to make sure that this cotter pin is pinched extremely well at the end, so that when you put it in here, it'll only go in so far. Now, something I forgot to do, and I wanted to do this. It's really important how I show you how this works. Okay, so what you need is the sequins. Now, I'm not sure what color sequins I want to use on this, but I think a matte, this is kind of a matte green, and so I want to use a sequin that looks good with it. Not sure that looks so good. Now let's try this other one and see how it looks. That one looks a little bit better, but I'm still not sure I like that. Well, those colors didn't really work good. Let's try a different one. Let's try this peach one. Well, the peach on that is actually not bad. Okay, well, I like that. Let's try this. No, that's not any good. Okay, and so now we're going to try this one. Actually, I like that dark. That don't work. That don't work either. And that doesn't work. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this color here, because it actually looks decent. And the nice thing is you can put your seed beads onto them. You can do like a really dark seed bead, and it will look extremely well with that. So now what I'm going to do here is show you another little trick that I learned that helps. All right. Oh, I did not need that many of those out there. I only need 2. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, we don't want to dump those out. All right. Before you spread these, which I already did one, you put one of your sequins on. Okay, now what you've got is you've got a sequin here. And now this goes into here. And now you put that cotter pin in like so. Now here's a way I keep from losing it. I have a pair of forceps here. So I grab one of the wires, because one of the wires is a little bit longer than the other one. And so now I just leave that there, because that is, and it can't get away. Okay, now I have a friend of mine on TikTok, was named Ketones. Now Ketones has this quick glue. All right, now this is like Elmer's. It's a water-based glue, but their family made this many years ago. It works extremely well, and it's very durable for these eggs. The place to get this is called the Lamp Shop. It's in Concord, New Hampshire. Their phone number is America, USA, 603-224-1603. And if you tell them I sent you, they know me. Very good glue. I highly recommend it for this type of work. It comes with this awesome little applicator. It's a squeeze thing, but it gives you just exactly what you need. And so at this point, what I need to do is I pull this sequin up to here, and then I get this applicator underneath it, and I squeeze some glue into here. Now, what this is doing is, this is creating extra strength on your eggshell. Because now you're gluing this sequin right to. And your chain, I want to get the glue off of that. And you just wipe off the excess glue on your wiper pad. But now what we have is we have that glued there. Now what I do, I make this wire long enough so that it hangs outside of this ornament. Then I reach in and I just spread the cotter pin. Okay, now what it is doing is, by spreading the cotter pin out, you are allowing, you're giving a bigger surface for this to hold inside there. I don't know if you can see it, maybe you can. All right, now I already spread this one, but I can't use it because I have to have the sequin on it first. And so now I go ahead and I put the sequin on. And the thing is, on the chain part, you turn your sequins backwards. All right, because when you're doing the sequins on everything else, they are upwards, so they shine right. Well, you don't want a bead on this, so you want your best attachment as possible to your egg. Okay, now if you don't have forceps, what you do is you just go in there and you spread them with your fingers, just a little bit. Now what that does is that keeps this from coming out. All right, so what'll happen is it won't fall out. And so now you can apply your glue to your wire, just like that. All right, then you go in here, and you can just grab it with tweezers. All right, you don't have to have the fancy little forceps. So you just grab that and you pull it down into place. And then I take off my extra glue that I don't need. And now what you've got is you've got your two chains attached. All right, now I want to spread it. So I just go in there and I spread that one down, and I grab it with the tweezers on the other one and spread it the other way. All right, so what you're doing is you are creating And I don't know, well, yeah, you can see it. You're creating, you're opening it up just like a cotter pin is supposed to be, because cotter pins keep stuff from coming out. Well, I thought about this back in the 80s and figured out that's how I can do this. Right now what you do, at this point you've got your hanging parts. Now I'm putting my lid back on here. I always keep track of this. Easy to lose, then you're in trouble. Then your little applicator goes bad. All right, now at this point I've decided what kind of a bead I want for this. And now I have extra 7mm wire. And what's going on here is I want this, and you have to make it long. You have to make this 7mm wire long at this point, because what you've got to do is you have to attach a bead, because you want to be able to hold on to this up here when you're hanging it on a tree, or if you're going to put it on the mirror of your car, you know, or you want to hang it in a window. So I like putting glass or stone beads on my stuff. Number one, it's better. All right, it's just better. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got a situation, because I got kind of ahead of myself on this whole egg build deal. What I have to do now is I have to have seed beads. All right, and I got a whole bunch of seed beads back here. And so here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I want to look at these seed beads, but I also want to look at, get out of the way. I want to look at these sequins. All right, now I've got a sequin right there, and to keep this from falling off of here, you just bend it over like that. And then it won't fall off and you won't have to be putting it back on. Now what I want to do is I want to see what kind of seed beads would look really good on there. I honestly think this silver, this matte silver, is going to look really good. And so we're going to try one on that, because if I don't like it, I just put it back in the little container. And whatever you do, when you open this stuff up, be really careful you don't bump it, because if you bang them all together, you have a terrible mess. I don't like it. Okay, I don't like that. All right, so now I'm going to try this one here. Okay. Actually, that makes that pop better. Okay. Well, let's try this purple one. Because, see, the thing is, once you figure out what kind of a bead you want to use on there, what seed bead you want on there, yeah, that bright one looked better. How about this one? No, come on. Yeah. Let's try this one. And so you keep trying beads until you get the one you really like. I think I'm going to use these because I liked the way that looked. All right, well, I got a lot of other colors in here too, so we're going to try another one. Ow. That white one actually brings out the green. That's not bad. Okay, well, let's see here. I got more colors over here. Let's try some. We're going to try some of these and see how they look on it. Because these are actually green beads that are meant for it. Are you kidding me? Wow, I like that. Okay, I like that. And what that is that is a translucent bead with a green center. Don't like that at all. Ugh. Okay, and that is, which one is, that's that one right there. Okay, so now I've figured out what bead I want to put on there. Okay, so I've got that done. Now I know that this is the ones I want right here. These are the ones I want to use. And I think these come from Amazon. Okay, now that I know that, what I have to do now is you have to glue these in. Okay, and then they got to dry. It's you have to let that completely dry. I like doing 6 or 8 ornaments at the same time, because now while this is drying, I can be working on another one, because you don't want this to come out. That's the cool thing about this, because here's the deal. Once you get this done here like this, you have to let that dry. Now I have a little heater down underneath my desk here, and I am going to set this down here overnight, and it will be dry in the morning. Then I can take and cut that excess wire off of there and go ahead and proceed to put in your glitter. All right, now that brings us up to the point where we're at right now, that I have to show you the inside of an egg. What you do is you figure out your color scheme, and then you have to glitter the inside of the egg. All right, as you can see, this has all been dried, and it hangs well. It's got a good bead, and this is the thing. Whichever beads you use, you have to make this. Now I'm going to show you that next, because I have to bring this back up. I don't have to worry about it coming apart. But what I do need to do now is take these, the same seed beads that I am going to use on this egg. Because once you get your sequins on here, then you got to cover them with seed beads. But before that, I have to go ahead and make this end of this for you, so you know what you're doing. Okay. Anyway, I use 13 seed beads. I don't know why I have an off number, but I know that 13 seed beads make a good handle, a good loop to hang it from. And so that's 1 and 2. And so you just continue to do this fantastic little part of it. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's separated. Okay. And because you've got 2 wires, it sometimes is time consuming a little bit to do this. Okay, now that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one didn't count. 5. And sometimes it's real difficult because these wires want to separate. And so once I find a place to hang on to it where they pretty much are going to stay put, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. Okay, 8. Oh, come on. 9 and 10. 11, 12, one more, and I've got it. Okay, now I have my 13 seed beads on there. So now I straighten this back out. Oh, and that drops down inside there. That's okay. And what you do is you just bend this around and you stick it back through here, like this. All right, now what you've got is you are making a loop out of this. And you want to pull it tight, okay? You want to pull this tight here, because there is your loop that you can hang it from, you know, your ornament from anything you want. And it's down in here nice and tight. Okay, now what you do is you have to take it like so, and now you twist it. That's half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4. All right, now what that does is that twists that wire around in here so that it won't come loose on you. And at this point, now what I have to do is I have to cut those wires off. You have to be really kind of careful at this point, because you don't want to cut your base wire, because then you're going to rebuild this end. And the bad thing about it is, if it happens on the tree or when you're hanging it up or you give it to somebody, then they're going to go, oh, you gave me a broken whatever. You know, and you can make these for anniversaries, Easter. You can make them for, wow. Okay, sometimes the scissors don't work right, but this is where your toenail clippers come in really handy. Okay, these little suckers are super sharp, and you can reach in with the corner of it and get them. Oh, no. What is it? Okay, we're good. And they trim it right off. And this, there is your chained ornament that you can hang up anywhere you want. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to let that dry, because now that's done. All right, so, and I'm taking you through, I've got, let's see, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 ornaments I'm building at the same time. And it shows you the progression of this. Now, what you have to do, oh, that's what I wanted to show everybody too. And I didn't get a chance to do that. I knew I was getting one step ahead of myself. Okay, so we're going to put that closed. I don't want to spill those. Okay, so at this point in time, what do I want to do? Where is that? That needs to come back up here. All right, now, if you want to cut these things into what you're doing, you have to have a Dremel tool, and you have to have a cutting wheel. And that's what I wanted to show everybody at this point, was that. All right, I have this very tiny steel cutting wheel. And so I put it in the Dremel. Now, if you have a Dremel, this will work. Otherwise, you can't do it. It's one of those things you can't. The egg will get chewed up. And you want it very high speed. And so, this is you're actually sculpting your egg shell. If you don't have it at extreme high speed, it breaks your eggshell. It broke. Now that's sad. Okay, so this is my problem with what happened right there. It still broke the eggshell. So one of the things I can do right now before it goes any further is I have to go ahead and glue this back together. And now this is another time when your dental tool comes in really handy. You go inside here and you smooth out the glue. Okay, now I can't go any further with this. I have to wait. All right, so at this point, I'm going to show you a little bit of what goes on next. All right, now I've already got some of this done. At this point, what you have is you can start putting your sequins on. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here on this side, and I'm going to put some sequins on here. Now, dental tools. You just touch the glue, barely, and then you put a sequin on. Now, this first row of sequins that you're putting on here, you want to tip them away from this edge. You want to tip them this direction. And the reason you want to do that is because when you get ready to put on your bugle beads, they have to have a place that they can sit on the shell and on to your sequins. Now, I won't put bugle beads down in these. I just put them across the tops. Because you can't get them down inside here. Because it'll close up your gap, and so you won't have the definition in there that you want for your accent on your egg. And the sequins are really nice because what they do is they give you all this beautiful glittery look, and they refract all the light that comes onto them. It's just, I love these egg ornaments, and I am so glad that my sister and I were taught how to make these back in the 60s. I've refined the technique and changed it, because back in the 60s, the only thing we had to hang the eggs on or by was we had a piece of cord that we glued onto the eggshell itself. And so it has come a long ways for me, because I've added my own touches to this. The thing about this that is so cool is that I get my chain, all right? It's like this chain right here. I found it at a thrift store for $1.50. You know, this thinner chain, this different stuff like this, you can find it. I get it at garage sales too, because I have a vast number of things that I watch for in all the stuff that I do. And so anyway, then what you have to do is you have to sequin this. Once the sequins are done, you let everything dry, because the thing is, you want to add sequins but you're not going to be able to add them all on at the same time. Sometimes you're going to have to let it sit and dry while you're thinking about what design you want to put on it, because there's all kinds of different designs you can do when you're doing your sequins, right? They don't have to be just standard stuff. Now, I got these, and I'm just going to drop them back in there just like that. And always close your baggies, because that way they don't get bumped and knocked on the floor and spilled, because it is so bad when you have to pick everything up. It's just blah. Now what I want to do is, I wonder, did I want to do that? Yeah, I did. That's a neutral color. Okay, so what I've got now is, now I want to show you how to put these on. And this stuff is, these are called bugle beads. All right, the bugle beads are what finishes your edge that you're going to be looking at. And you always want to start, when you're doing an oval like this, you want to start your seed beads or your sequins at the top and work your way down halfway. You just keep working your way down on both sides evenly. Because what happens is when you get to the bottom, because these are all DIY, you don't have exact rounds, exact cuts. And sometimes you need to squeeze them together a little bit or spread them apart a little bit, so that you can end it looking good and not have a big gap at the bottom. And so now comes this part. You're gluing the sequins and the face of the egg together. Then you start placing your bugle beads on. Now, you can use Elmer's glue. All right, you don't have to use the quick glue that I got from Ketones. All right, it's not mandatory. Elmer's works also. I used Elmer's for years. But I've found that Ketones' quick glue is stronger than Elmer's. And since you're using eggshell and paint and sequins, a stronger glue is good. And what you do is you just keep adding these into place and working your way around the egg. Because what it does is this also adds to the bling of these eggs. Okay. Now, I've shown you how to do that. There's no point in going any further, because that's all you do, is you just go around wherever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, all right? Like that one that I've got cut out down there drawing. You just go around it as well. And the only thing you have to do is make sure that they don't slip. All right, now we're going to set that down and go to the next egg. Now, putting these things together, you have to build scenery in them. All right, now this is shredded mylar, and that bee that you see right there, I found those two bees for $2.50 at a thrift store. They were pins. Well, I took the pin off them, and then I built this interior for it. And I know it's really tough to see. Doggone it. I should have brought a light. But anyway, I have dried flowers and different things I've picked up over the years. And so now what I've got is I need to find this, because you need to put your seed beads on. All right, so now I have to look. Here it is. I used this blue in here. Okay, so now, and as you can see, this facing edge, that is what it does when it's done. It finishes up really, really nice. And now, this is where this applicator comes in so darn handy. And I don't usually dab more than 4 beads at a time. And then I just go in here with the tweezers and drop them into place. Oh, really? Why are you doing that? Now, for some reason, my tweezers had just enough glue on them, just a film. And so the seed bead stuck to the tweezers instead of going in place where I wanted it. So you have to keep your tools extremely clean. And when I drop the seed beads in place, then what I do is I have to tap them down, okay? Just like that. And now the cool thing is, this edge around here, I'm going to show you another little item that I'm going to do. But that's what you have to do with your seed beads. And then you start covering all of your sequins with seed beads. That gives you your finished look. And as you can see how these beads work and everything, you now have a very good ornament that is starting to look professionally done. And it does take some time to get professional with this. Okay, now I want to go to this one right here. All right, this one I've actually finished doing everything. I found moss out in the front yard, and I pulled moss up, and I had some flowers that I picked. It's just little ones that were outside in this summer. And so this summer coming, I'm going to look for more different ones. And because you can pick these little wildflowers, they're very small, and they'll fit very well into what you're doing. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to add some more color to this, and I like that. Okay, so these are called oil slick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second layer of seed beads on this piece. So now all I do is I just go over here and I start adding just a dab of glue to the top of every one of those seed beads in the facing edge. And now I want these. And I just put them right on top of the seed beads that are already there. And I started doing this late in 1989 is when I started doing this, and I was almost finished making eggs at that point. But what it does is it gives you another layer of color, and they look very, very gorgeous when they're done. So, paper engineers, that is how to make your eggs from start to finish on one video. Take care, everyone. Hope to see you on my live show Monday through Friday. Good day.